I'm sitting in my living room. The house is empty. Karen took the girls to her sister's place in Seattle 3 days ago. I told her it was work stress. She didn't ask questions, just packed. I haven't slept in 4 days. My pupils are dilated. I checked this morning. 7 millimeters in normal light. Same measurement Miller showed on day 14. I can hear ringing, high-pitched, constant, inside my skull. The files went out 3 days ago. Dead drop in Anchorage. Bus station, locker. Key mailed to the journalist's P.O. box. She has everything by now. Every tape, every log, every frame of footage. The agency is coming. Maybe tonight. Maybe tomorrow. But I need to review the briefing one more time. While I still can. I press play. Subproject 142. Orientation briefing. Recorded 7 days prior to subject arrival. This is Dr. Marcus Aaron, Principal Investigator, MK Ultra Subproject 142. Recording this for my own reference and potential oversight review. Our objective is straightforward. We're testing whether prolonged sleep deprivation creates measurable changes in thalamic processing. Specifically, whether the brain can be forced to perceive stimuli outside normal sensory range. Previous studies in this area focused on cognitive decline, hallucination, psychosis. Those are known outcomes, documented extensively. We're testing for something else. The hypothesis: human perception operates within a narrow band. We filter out most sensory input to function. The thalamus acts as a gatekeeper. Sleep acts as a reset mechanism for that gate. Without sleep, the filters degrade. The question is simple. What do we perceive when the filters are gone? 2 subjects, federal inmates, voluntary participation in exchange for sentence reduction, standard consent forms signed. They know it's sleep deprivation research. They don't know the duration. Protocol is clean. 30 days minimum observation. Subjects kept in separate low-light observation rooms. Minimal environmental stimulation. Medical monitoring every 6 hours. Standard vitals. Pupil response. Cognitive function tests. If thalamic changes occur, we document. If nothing happens, we terminate at day 35 and submit findings through usual channels. This is controlled. Professional. Nothing we haven't done before. Subject files are as follows. Subject 1. Thomas Miller. White male, age 34. Currently serving 8 years at FCI Sheridan for wire fraud and embezzlement. Psychological evaluation shows antisocial personality disorder. High functioning. IQ tested at 141. Articulate. Observational. No history of violent behavior. Medical screening came back clean. No seizure history. Non-smoker. The psychological profile is what makes him valuable. Sociopathic presentation means reduced fear response. Flat effect. He should tolerate extended deprivation better than a standard subject. Ideal for long-term observation without panic contamination. He signed the consent form without reading it, asked how much the sentence reduction was. I told him 18 months. He said that was acceptable and initialed every page. Subject 2. Vincent Kowalski, white male, age 29, currently serving 12 years at USP Lompoc for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Multiple infractions during incarceration. History of violent outbursts. Psychological evaluation shows impulse control deficits, poor anger management, but no major psychiatric disorders, no schizophrenia, no bipolar indicators. Medical history includes a concussion at age 19. Football injury. CT scan at the time showed no permanent damage, otherwise healthy. This subject provides contrast. Where Miller is calm and analytical, Kowalski is volatile and reactive. If deprivation produces divergent responses based on personality type, we'll see it clearly with this pairing. He didn't want to read the consent form, asked if there were going to be drugs involved. I said no. He asked if anyone had died doing this before. I told him no. That was accurate at the time. He signed. Both subjects arrive tomorrow. Baseline monitoring begins immediately. Sleep deprivation starts after 24-hour acclimation period. Staff assignments are minimal. Dr. Pemberton oversees from Langley. I'm on site as primary investigator. Nurse Dietrich handles medical monitoring. Specialist Vance handles security and observation rotations. Facility is secure. Located 14 miles outside Fairbanks, no windows, climate controlled. Observation rooms are 8 by 10 feet, concrete walls, single cot, toilet, sink, one-way observation glass, low ambient lighting at 40 lumens, white noise at 40 decibels to prevent external audio cues. Subjects will be kept awake via audio alert system. Buzzer triggers when video monitoring detects microsleeps. Head nodding, eyelid closure beyond 2 seconds, any sign of sleep onset. We expect irritability by day 3, visual distortions by day 7, mild hallucinations by day 10. Standard progression. If we're right about the thalamic hypothesis, we should see measurable perceptual expansion by day 14. If we're wrong, we'll see psychosis and terminate early. Either way, we'll have data. Tape clicks off. I sit in the dark and listen to my own voice, confident, clinical, certain. I didn't know anything. The tape continues. My notes from the first week. Day 1. Subjects placed in observation rooms at 0800 hours. Acclimation phase, both compliant. Miller spent most of the day sitting on his cot, staring at the wall, not bored, just observing. Kowalski paced for 3 hours, tested the door twice, sat down when he realized it wouldn't open. No issues. Day 2. Sleep deprivation protocol begins. Audio alert system activated. Miller experienced first microsleep at 0340 hours. Buzzer woke him. He didn't react with anger, just nodded and stayed awake. Kowalski didn't attempt to sleep until 0600 hours. Buzzer triggered. He shouted at the speaker for 2 minutes, then complied. Vitals, normal for both subjects. Day 3. Irritability increasing as expected. Kowalski punched the wall once, no injury. Refused breakfast, ate lunch. Miller remains calm, but his speech is slower. Cognitive tests show minor reaction time delay. Normal for 72 hours without sleep. Pupils slightly dilated in both subjects, 2 millimeters above baseline. Standard stress response. Day 4. Both subjects showing visual trailing. Mild perceptual lag when tracking moving objects. Miller described it as like watching a video with frame lag. Kowalski didn't describe it, just kept blinking hard and rubbing his eyes. No hallucinations yet. Day 5. Miller's speech is slurring slightly, not intoxication, neurological fatigue, motor control degrades, requires more effort. Kowalski stopped pacing, stands in the center of his cell for hours at a time. When asked why, he said, listening. Audio monitoring detected no abnormal sounds in his cell. Day 6. Both subjects report floaters in their vision. Common symptom, the eye's vitreous humor becomes more noticeable under stress. Not a hallucination, just increased awareness of normal visual artifacts. Thalamic scans show minor activity increase in sensory processing centers, within expected range. Day 7. 1 week without sleep. Both subjects are holding stable, better than previous studies. Miller is conversational. Kowalski is quiet but responsive. Pupils are now at 5 millimeters in low light, elevated but not alarming. Cognitive function is declining but not collapsing. Memory recall is slower. Reaction time is down 15% from baseline. Mood is irritable but not aggressive. We're proceeding to the extended observation phase. This is going well. Tape clicks off. I stop the playback. I actually said it was going well. I didn't see it starting. The stare, the tracking, the thing they were learning to perceive. It was already there, in the corners of their cells. In the gaps we don't look at. We just hadn't noticed yet. I rewind the tape. Play it again. Listen to my voice describe the baseline week. And I realize something. Miller said he heard frame lag on day 4. Kowalski said he was listening on day 5. They were already perceiving it. I just didn't write it down that way. The ringing in my ears gets louder. I close my eyes. Then I open them fast, because I don't know if I'll come back. Day 10. Morning observation. Kowalski stopped moving, not sleeping, not sitting, just standing in the center of his cell, facing the north wall, motionless for the entire 6-hour shift. Nurse Dietrich asked him if he was feeling all right. No response. She repeated the question. He said, listening without turning around. I reviewed the audio logs. No abnormal sounds detected. Environmental systems functioning normally. White noise at 40 decibels. Nothing else. Specialist Vance noted in his shift report. Subject Kowalski refused breakfast. Didn't acknowledge the meal tray. Continued facing north wall for 11 consecutive hours. I logged it as behavioral peculiarity. Possible early psychosis. Day 11. Pupils continuing to dilate in both subjects. Elevated, but not alarming. Miller's conversational. Cognitive tests show continued decline in reaction time, but no confusion. Memory recall is slower. I asked him to recite numbers backward from 100. Standard cognitive assessment. He started at 100, reached 87, then paused for 8 seconds before continuing. Said, "Something's wrong with the order." I didn't understand what he meant. Logged it as mild confusion. When I asked how he was feeling, he said, "Fine." When I asked if he was experiencing visual distortions, he said, "No more than usual." I asked what that meant. He said, "The floaters are more noticeable, and there's some trailing when I track movement." Standard symptoms. I logged it. Day 12, both subjects showing increased pupil dilation. Ophthalmologic examination scheduled. Nurse Dietrich conducted the exam through the observation port. No iris damage detected, no pharmacological cause. Reflex response intact. Dilation appears to be adaptive rather than pathological. Miller complained about light sensitivity, said the 40-lumen ambient lighting felt too bright. I authorized reduction to 30 lumens. Kowalski didn't complain, didn't speak at all during the exam, just stared at the upper left corner of his cell. Dietrich asked what he was looking at. He didn't answer. Day 13. Both subjects refused food. Water intake normal, weight loss minimal, bodies adapting to deprivation stress. Miller's reaction time degraded further. Response delay now averaging 4.2 seconds for simple verbal prompts. But speech remains coherent when he does respond. Kowalski remains nonverbal, hasn't spoken in 48 hours. Vital signs stable. He shifts his weight occasionally, but maintains fixed position facing north wall. Pupils continuing to dilate. I noted subjects approaching critical threshold. Prepare for potential psychotic break within 24 to 48 hours. Day 14, 0607 hours. Morning observation shift. Both subjects facing the same direction. Miller sitting on his cot, staring at the upper left quadrant of his cell. Eyes tracking something. Slow, horizontal movement. Left to right. Then back. Kowalski standing, facing the north wall. Same tracking behavior. Eyes moving slowly. Following something. Observation logs confirmed 40 minutes of continuous tracking. Specialist Vance noted it in his report. Subjects appear to be watching something. No visible stimulus detected. From the observation room, through the one-way glass, Miller's eyes were locked on the corner. Pupils dilated, fully black in the low light. He wasn't blinking, just tracking. Smooth, pursuit eye movement. The kind you use when following a moving object. I knocked on the glass. He didn't react. I used the intercom. "Miller, can you hear me?" He nodded, didn't look away from the corner. "What are you looking at?" He pointed. "Do you see it?" "See what?" "The column. The vertical distortion. It's moving." I looked at the corner of his cell. Concrete. Shadow. Nothing else. "There's nothing there." He smiled, still staring. "You will." Video footage review. Camera 1, Miller's cell. Timestamp 060732. Miller staring at upper left corner, eyes tracking, frame 1847. There's something, not an object, a distortion, visual artifact. Vertical, approximately 7 feet tall, occupying empty space. Duration, 7 frames. At 30 frames per second, that's 0.23 seconds. Frame 1854. Distortion gone. Miller still tracking. Thermal imaging overlay on the same section. Cold spot detected. 4 degrees below ambient temperature. Air temperature in that column, 64 degrees Fahrenheit. Room temperature, 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Column shape, 7 feet tall. Environmental controls checked. No temperature anomalies in ventilation system. Logged as sensor artifact. Possible lens distortion. Confirmation bias. Day 15. Audio spectrum analysis. Standard procedure. We record all audio in the observation cells. Microphone array captures frequencies from 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. Human hearing range. I was reviewing the Day 14 recordings, looking for anything the subjects might be reacting to. Timestamp 14:22:18. Infrasound spike, 12 Hz, below human hearing threshold. Duration, 4 seconds. Both subjects reacted simultaneously. Turned their heads, same direction, same angle, precise synchronization. Staff present in observation room at the time. Nobody heard anything. Infrasound at 12 Hz is known to cause anxiety, visual distortion, sense of presence. Could explain subjects' coordinated behavior if facility structure was creating standing waves. I scheduled structural acoustic survey for day 20. But we weren't generating that frequency, and it appeared spontaneously. Logged as environmental anomaly. Possible explanation for shared perceptual symptoms. Day 16. Obsessive footage analysis began. Not just reviewing, analyzing, every frame, thermal overlays, spectral audiographs, measuring, documenting. Trying to find the pattern. The visual artifacts appeared irregularly, sometimes twice in an hour, sometimes not for 6 hours. Always in peripheral areas, corners, edges of the frame, places the camera barely captured. The cold spots followed the same pattern, brief, localized, moving slowly when they appeared. The subjects tracked them with their eyes. I told myself it was hallucination, shared environmental cues, confirmation bias. Sleep deprivation causes the brain to see patterns that aren't there, but the thermal readings bothered me. Cold spots don't move, not without a physical cause. And the infrasound, we weren't generating it. It was there. Day 17. Pupils now non-reactive to direct light. This isn't normal dilation, this is adaptive mydriasis. Their eyes are trying to gather more light, like nocturnal animals. I asked Miller if he could see clearly. He said, "Better than before." I asked what he meant. He said, "I see more now." "More what?" He looked at me. "Those black pupils. Everything you're filtering out." Day 18. Nurse Dietrich submitted an incident report. She'd been monitoring Kowalski for 18 days, watching him through the one-way glass, 6-hour shifts, observing his eye movements, tracking where he looked, trying to understand what he was seeing. She wrote, "I can't sleep. Haven't been able to since day 14. Every time I close my eyes, I hear ringing, high-pitched, constant." She described seeing movement in her peripheral vision, heat shimmer where there shouldn't be any. When she turned to look, nothing was there. She wrote, "I keep seeing visual artifacts similar to what subjects describe. Possible perceptual contagion or observer bias. Recommend immediate rotation off observation duty. I recommended immediate medical leave. She took it. Evening observation. Both subjects presenting with total mydriasis, maximum dilation, non-reactive to light stimulus. Ophthalmoscopic examination shows no iris damage, no pharmacological cause. This isn't damage, it's adaptation. Their eyes have changed, permanently." Miller stated, "We need the light now, all of it." I asked what he meant. He pointed to the corner of his cell. Kowalski remained nonverbal during examination, kept turning his head toward the ceiling corner. When Dietrich's replacement asked why, he whispered something. I spent 4 more hours reviewing footage that night. The frame intrusions were increasing. I could see them clearly now. The distortions, the thermal signatures, the audio anomalies. I didn't know why I'd dismissed them before. Every appearance cataloged, timestamps, duration, location within frame, temperature readings. The pattern was consistent, predictable, measurable. It was there. And the subjects were tracking it with their eyes because they could see it, their dilated pupils, their adapted vision. They'd learned to perceive something we filter out. I wrote in my log, "Subjects showing measurable perceptual expansion. Thalamic adaptation confirmed, proceeding with observation." Day 19, 0600 hours. Specialist Vance reported for observation duty. He'd been rotating shifts since day 1, 6 hours on, 18 hours off. Standard schedule. He'd spent over 120 hours watching the subjects through one-way glass. He submitted a medical request that morning. Self-reported symptoms, insomnia, auditory hallucinations, visual trailing, pupils dilating. I read his report. One line stood out. "I keep seeing movement in the corners of the room. When I turn to look, there's nothing there." 120 hours of recordings, frame-by-frame analysis, thermal overlays, audio spectrograms. I'd watched the subjects stare for so long I'd started tracking the empty corners myself. That should have been my first warning. 0600 hours. Incident report. Subject 2 requested medical attention. 2-person entry protocol. Vance entered with medical assistant. The assistant approached to check vitals. Kowalski lunged, not at the assistant, at the wall behind her. Full force collision, shoulder dislocated, kept swinging at empty air. Vance restrained him, taser deployed, single pulse, subject compliant. Kowalski wasn't looking at the assistant. He was looking past her, tracking something across the room as they dragged him out. When Vance asked what he saw, it was standing right behind her, taller than the ceiling. Thermal footage review. Cold spot. 6 degrees below ambient, exactly where Kowalski was swinging. Supplemental report, filed 1420 hours. I've done cell entries for 11 years. I know when someone's faking. Kowalski wasn't attacking her. Full body tackle into concrete. Shoulder popped on impact. He didn't stop. Kept swinging with his functional arm at empty air. When I grabbed him, I felt it. Cold. Right where he was swinging. Cold enough to see my breath. The assistant felt it too. Medical assessment, 0645 hours. Subject 2 sedated for shoulder reduction. No pain response during procedure. When asked why he attacked, subject stated, it was going to touch her. Pupils remain at 9 millimeters. Core temperature 96.2 degrees Fahrenheit. Heart rate 52 beats per minute. Note: subject exhibited protective behavior, inconsistent with violent offender profile. Footage review. Thermal overlay shows cold column forming behind the assistant 2 frames before Kowalski moved. He didn't hallucinate. He reacted. Day 20, 1400 hours. Final interview with Miller. He was sitting on his cot. Calm. Pupils completely black. 9 millimeters fixed. I used the intercom. How are you feeling, Thomas? Fine. Better than I should. You haven't slept in 20 days. You should be experiencing severe psychosis. I'm not confused, doctor. I'm seeing clearly for the first time. Vitals normal. Heart rate 68. Blood pressure 118/76. His body was handling the deprivation better than any subject I'd documented. What do you see? It's always been here, in the room, in the hallway, probably in your office right now. You just can't see it. Describe it. I can't, because your brain won't process the description. You're still filtering it out. Try. He stared at the corner, then back at me. It's tall. It occupies spaces we don't look at. The corner. The gap between the door and the frame. Is it hostile? No, it's patient. We just never looked long enough to see it. Why can you see it now? Because you broke the filter. Sleep resets our perception. You took that away. Now we see what's always been there. Are you afraid? I should be. But fear requires self-preservation instinct. I don't have that anymore, remember? Then he said something I didn't include in the official transcript. Doctor, what do you think sleep is? I gave him the textbook answer. Neurological reset, memory consolidation, REM cycle restoration. He shook his head. No, sleep is practice. Practice for what? For not existing. I stopped writing. Every night, he said, you stop, you cease. For 6, 7, 8 hours, you're gone. Then you come back and pretend you were always here. But you weren't. You stopped existing, and then you started again. I told him that was philosophically interesting, but neurologically inaccurate. Consciousness persists during sleep. Brain activity continues. He leaned closer to the glass. Those black pupils staring through me. Then why don't you remember it? If you're still you during sleep, where do those 8 hours go? Why is there nothing but a gap? I didn't have an answer. We accept it, Miller continued, because we don't remember the void. But I remember now. I've been awake for 20 days. No gaps, no cessation. I've been continuously me. And now I understand what we are. What are we? Temporary. We blink in and out of existence every night. The thing in the corner, it doesn't blink. It's always here. That's what continuous existence looks like. "We're the anomaly, Doctor. We're the ones who shouldn't be here." I ended the interview. Log entry. Subject 1 showing advanced perceptual adaptation, cognitive function surprisingly intact. Day 21. Vance submitted medical documentation, self-reported insomnia, pupils dilating, ringing constant. Off-site rotation approved. He left that afternoon. Dietrich never came back, called from home, couldn't sleep, kept seeing heat shimmer in empty rooms. Extended leave approved. Day 22. I compiled staff medical reports. Dietrich, Vance. Identical symptom progression. Insomnia, pupil dilation, auditory hallucinations, visual artifacts. Onset, 96 to 120 hours observation duty. I'd logged 200 hours watching the subjects, analyzing footage. My pupils were dilating. The ringing started that night. Day 23. The memo arrived from Langley. Memorandum, Dr. Pemberton, MK Ultra oversight. Classification, top secret. Regarding immediate termination, Subproject 142. Subproject 142 is terminated effective immediately. Protocol follows. 1. Subjects euthanized via standard procedure. 2. All records destroyed. 3. Facility decommissioned and sealed. 4. Staff debriefed under NDA, 6-month blackout. This project yielded no actionable intelligence. Perceptual findings represent operational security liability. Termination team arrives in 48 hours. Ensure materials prepared for incineration. Your cooperation is mandatory. I spent that night copying files, every tape, every log, every thermal scan, every frame showing the artifacts. Journalist contact, freelance, published agency, leaks before. Dead drop location, bus station locker in Anchorage. Key mailed to her P.O. box. I packed everything, selection files, observation logs, video evidence, thermal scans, audio analysis, medical reports, staff symptoms, Pemberton's termination order. Note included. These men volunteered for sleep deprivation. We didn't tell them what we were really testing. The agency wants to bury this. Someone needs to know. Sealed the package. Mailed the key on day 24. Day 25. Empty house. Karen's coffee mug still in the sink. Girls' toys in the hallway. Haven't moved from this chair in 6 hours. Pupils, 7 millimeters. Ringing. Constant. I need to record this while I still can. Audio recording. Aaron's personal tape date, day 25. This is Dr. Marcus Aaron, final log. The files are out. The journalist has them. If you're hearing this, the story is public. Miller asked me what sleep is. I gave him the textbook answer. He said, sleep is practice, practice for not existing. I should have listened. That was 5 days ago. I haven't slept since. Because if you understand that sleep is cessation, that every night you stop existing, how do you ever close your eyes again? Now I see it. In the corner, behind me. The thing that never stops existing. I'm so tired. But I can't close my eyes because I don't know if I'll come back. What if sleep isn't rest? What if it's just stopping? Incident report. CIA contractor. Lead operator. Redacted. Date. Day 48. Post-facility shutdown. Classification. Top secret. We arrived at the facility days after termination order was issued. Standard procedure. 2-man team. Tactical entry. No hazmat protocol. Orders. Neutralize remaining subjects. Incinerate biological material. Remove all records. Seal site. Facility power still on. Emergency lighting only. Temperature 54 degrees Fahrenheit throughout. HVAC running but set to minimum. No personnel present, no response to comms. Administrative offices empty, records removed. Dr. Aaron's office cleared. Observation control room, monitors still displaying feeds. Cells 1 and 2 visible on screen. Cell 1, empty. Cell 2, occupied. 08:35 hours. Approached Cell 1, Subject 1, Thomas Miller. Door locked from outside. Standard magnetic lock. Security log showed no unlock events since day 25. I unlocked it, opened the door. Cell appeared empty. One-way observation glass intact. No blood, no tissue, no visible subject. My partner swept the cell with his weapon light. Clear. But something felt wrong. The air was colder near the upper left corner. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. I activated the thermal scope mounted on my rifle. Standard equipment, allows target acquisition in low light conditions. The corner lit up on the display. Cold signature, human-shaped, standing vertical, arms at sides, head tilted upward. Temperature 54 degrees Fahrenheit, same as ambient air, no heat differential, no infrared signature. I lowered the scope, looked at the corner with naked eye. Nothing, just concrete and shadow. Raised the scope again. The signature was still there. Human outline. Not moving. I called out, "Miller, can you hear me?" The thermal signature didn't respond, didn't move, just stood there. My partner, "What are you looking at?" I handed him the scope. Upper left corner, check thermal. He looked, went silent for 5 seconds. "Jesus Christ, is that him?" I didn't answer, because I didn't know. Subject 1's location, in cell, standing in corner. Visible only on thermal imaging. Body temperature matches ambient air, non-responsive to verbal commands. 08:47 hours. Approached Cell 2, Subject 2, Vincent Kowalski. Visual confirmation through observation glass before entry. Subject seated on cot, upright posture, eyes open. I unlocked the door. My partner covered the entrance. The door opened. Subject 2 didn't move, didn't react, just sat there, eyes completely black, pupils fully dilated, no visible iris. Sclera yellowed. Respiratory rate undetectable. My partner said, "Is he alive?" I approached, checked pulse manually, carotid artery, pulse detected. Temperature 54 degrees Fahrenheit. Core hypothermia. He should be unconscious, dead, but he was sitting upright. I said, "Kowalski, can you hear me?" No response. He just stared at the corner of the cell, upper left, tracking something with his eyes. Smooth movement, left to right, then back. My partner, "What's he looking at?" I looked at the corner, concrete, nothing else. Then Kowalski started humming. Low tone, rhythmic, not a melody, just a single sustained note, like a tuning fork. 08:52 hours. I pulled my sidearm, aimed at Subject 2. My partner said, "Execute?" I said, "Protocol says yes." But I didn't fire, because something was wrong. The cold. I felt it. Right where Kowalski was staring. My partner stepped into the cell, moved to the left to get a better angle. He stopped. He was staring at the same corner now. Same angle. Same tracking movement as the subject. I said, "Status?" He didn't answer. I grabbed his shoulder. "We're leaving, now." He was heavy, immovable, like he was rooted to the floor. I pulled harder. "Sergeant, move." He spoke. His voice was flat, clinical. "It's not empty." "What?" "The dark," he whispered. I watched his eyes. I saw it happen in real time, the iris retreating, the black expanding. He sat down on the cot next to Kowalski. He folded his hands. He looked at the corner, and he started to hum. The same tone, the same frequency, low tone, rhythmic. Now there were two of them, resonating. 0856 hours. I didn't shoot him. Protocol calls for neutralization of compromised assets, but I couldn't pull the trigger. I backed out. I locked the door. I could hear them through the steel. Both of them. Humming. I triggered the incendiary protocol from the hallway. Observations. Subject 1. Missing. Cell secured from outside. No explanation. Subject 2. Terminated via facility incineration. Partner status. Left in containment. Terminated via incineration. Staff. No personnel located. Dr. Aaron's residence checked on day 49. House empty. Front door open. No signs of struggle. Location. Unknown. I am filing this report from the extraction vehicle. I can't look in the rearview mirror, because I know what I'll see if I catch my own reflection. The ringing is so loud now. Note: this audio file was recovered from extraction vehicle. Vehicle found abandoned 14 miles from facility. Operator's location unknown. Appreciate you tuning in for the chills. Hope this helped you unwind. Share your story ideas in the comments and subscribe to become part of our nocturnal crew. Until next time, take care.